Maybe you've heard the jingle.
Si es Goya,
tiene que ser bueno.
si es Goya, tiene que ser bueno.
Or maybe you've seen what some industry experts call the wall of yellow in grocery stores.
At Goya, we're the experts in Hispanic cuisine.
Today, Goya is one of the most recognized Hispanic food brands. Its beans, rice, seasonings, and juices found in households across the U.S.
My mom used to buy them at the grocery store, so I saw them like in our cabinets and stuff.
How did the brand go from a small New York store
To the largest Hispanic-owned food company in the United States? What role did these money transfer kiosks play in its success? And how did a speech the company's CEO gave at the White House and a subsequent boycott affect its bottom line?
I said something very horrific when I was at the White House.
My name is Fernando Hurtado. I'm a journalist, and this story is about the hyphen between Goya and the United States.
Goya Foods was founded in 1936 in New York. Prudencio and Carolina Unanue, both immigrants from Spain by way of Puerto Rico, opened a warehouse and store in Manhattan called Unanue Incorporated to supply corner stores and bodegas with Spanish products like olives and sardines. That same year, the couple purchased the name Goya from a Moroccan sardines manufacturer for $1. Prudencio Unanue liked that it was also the last name of the Spanish painter Francisco Goya, and he also thought it was easier to pronounce than his last name.
In the 1940s and 50s, as more immigrants from Latin America started arriving in the United States, Goya pivoted to Latin American products.
Goya started carrying yuca to cater to Puerto Ricans. The Unanues then added black beans, guava paste, and coconut to cater to Cubans and Dominicans. Eventually, the company relocated its headquarters to Secaucus, New Jersey, as it expanded. Goya's success was propelled by pretty big population shifts in the US at the time. From 1980 to the mid-1990s, the buying power of Hispanic consumers in the US tripled to about $200 billion. The influx of immigrants from Latin America helped Goya grow even amid a recession in the United States. Goya sales increased from $330 million to $410 million in 1991. By 1993, it was the nation's largest Hispanic-owned firm, according to Hispanic Business magazine. By 2013, the company was dominating 25% of the Hispanic food market and generating an estimated $1.3 billion in sales. For context, General Mills was bringing in $16.7 billion in sales at the time.
I wanted to see how a small food manufacturer was able to dominate the Hispanic food aisle, so I reached out to Goya Foods. I didn't hear back from them, so I scoured newspaper archives, podcast interviews, and speeches, anything to piece the story together.
What I learned was that immigration from Latin America was its biggest blessing and its Achilles heel. See, one big challenge for Goya from the start was keeping the brand relatable to all Latinos in the US. In 1993, the company's director of marketing said the language in advertising and on products had to be neutral. What he meant by that was that, quote, you have to take a little bit of each country and put it in the ad to get balance for all nationalities. For example, Cubans and Argentinians have different names for the same bean.
To combat this, Goya would send sales reps to different neighborhoods to make sure the products they were putting on shelves made sense for the area. Those reps would also do something else.
They'd hang out at local money transfer businesses to see where immigrants in a particular neighborhood were sending checks home to. The countries they were sending the money to would inform what products they delivered to which neighborhoods. The strategy was paying off. By the early 2000s, Goya said 75% of its customers were Latino. But Goya had and continues to have larger aspirations. In an interview with Christian Science Monitor, the company said it was trying to target the general English market. In 2004, Robert, or Bob Unanue, the grandson of Prudencio Unanue, took over as president and CEO of Goya Foods.
The following year, the company ramped up English language advertising to capture third and fourth generation Latinos, as well as the general American market.
Goya said the campaigns worked. By the end of 2012, they had gained an extra percentage point in households where the campaign aired.
If it's Goya, it has to be good.
I want to take a brief moment to tell you something. My name is Fernando Hurtado, and I'm a journalist with more than 8 years of experience. I recently left my job at NBC and Telemundo to launch this channel, In The Hyphen, where I'm telling deeply researched, visually rich stories about US Latinos. and I need your help. Please subscribe and hit the little notification button so you don't miss the next video. It really does help me. And if you want to go a step further, you can become a patron. I launched a Patreon where you get early access to videos, the ability to contribute to stories. You also get shout outs in the YouTube description, and you get access to my Build Out Loud podcast, where I basically peel back the curtain on the business side of In The Hyphen, where I talk numbers, including, yes, money. Thank you so much for listening. Now back to the video.
In the early 2010s, with solid penetration within Hispanic immigrant communities, Goya started going after other immigrant communities, rolling out Indian and Chinese products in a, quote, bid to become the food company for all people new to America, the Washington Post said. But they never abandoned their core Hispanic consumer. In 2012, Goya partnered with First Lady Michelle Obama's Let's Move Healthy Eating initiative to promote healthy foods to Hispanic families through brochures and curriculum for 4th and 6th graders. In a 2013 interview, Bob Unanue told the Washington Post, quote, "We are a country of immigrants, and thank goodness, because that way we can tailor our product lines to all those who are coming in," end quote. For some, that statement stood in stark contrast with something that would happen years later in 2020. Bob Unanue visited the White House to accompany President Donald Trump as he announced the Hispanic Prosperity Initiative, an executive order aimed at improving access to educational and economic opportunities for Hispanic Americans. Unanue announced Goya would donate food to food banks to help families impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. But it was this remark that led to some controversy.
And by the way, we're all truly blessed at the same time to have a leader like President Trump, who is a builder. And that's what my grandfather did. He came to this country to build, to grow, to prosper. And so we have an incredible builder, and we pray. We pray for our leadership, our president, and we pray for our country, that we will continue to prosper and to grow.
The backlash was swift.
Goya Foods is facing a boycott after the company's CEO praises President Trump. The president is unpopular among some Latinos, the primary consumers of Goya products.
The hashtags boycott Goya and Goya Way now trending, and many prominent Latino voices outraged. In the past, the president has called Mexican immigrants rapists who are bringing crime to this country.
Politicians and consumers were quick to call for a boycott of Goya. At the same time, other people declared their support for Unanue, vowing to buy Goya products for the first time.
In the days that followed, Ivanka Trump, Trump's daughter, posted this image on Twitter with the Goya slogan in English and Spanish: "If it's Goya, it has to be good." President Donald Trump himself posted this captionless photo on his Instagram page. Ethics experts said both photos clearly broke federal rules that prohibit federal employees from using their public office for the endorsement of any product, service, or enterprise.
So how did Unanue's White House appearance affect sales?
A 2022 study conducted by Cornell University researchers actually looked into this. Goya sales increased 22% nationally in the 2 weeks following the initial story, with much of that growth coming from Republican-leaning districts that purchased Goya products for the first time. But the boost was short-lived. Sales reverted back to baselines less than a month after. What was interesting was that Goya's core Latino consumers generally continued buying its products, according to the researchers. Sales for canned beans did fall in Democratic counties, suggesting shoppers were able to find alternatives. But sales of Goya's adobo seasoning held steady, likely because consumers could not find an alternative, according to the researchers.
Since then, Unanue has been more explicit about his support of Trump.
In 2024, he spoke at the Republican National Convention ahead of the election.
But more than a builder, he's a courageous leader. And he will bring this nation closer to God. He will bring strength to America. And he will bring prosperity back to America.
Still, the company is set on keeping its existing consumer base and expanding it, especially as it looks to stay relevant with second and third generation Americans of Latin American descent. They've rolled out convenient and healthy products for new generations of U.S. Latinos, things like microwavable rice and sugar-free cookies. Today, the company remains a dominant player in the Hispanic food aisles of grocery stores. While it's not without a healthy dose of competitors, a 2021 analysis by The Guardian found Goya controlled 13.9% of the canned beans market in the United States. Goya Foods employs more than 4,000 people across 26 facilities worldwide, but there has been one big change. Bob Unanue is no longer at the helm. In February of 2025, Unanue posted a press release. The author of the press release? Him, the announcement, that he had been informed by the company's board that his employment as president and CEO had changed. He said he, quote, currently had no real answers about the decision.
What was later learned was that in the lead up to the decision, Unanue had been active in conservative media circles.
He'd gone on shows and podcasts to tout his work with Trump border czar Tom Homan to stop child trafficking through his Goya Cares initiative. Following the press release, he said on X that, quote, no board decision can shake my resolve. I remain fully committed to raising awareness, holding traffickers accountable, and ensuring a safer future for our nation's children. God's children are not for sale, end quote. This appeared to give the impression that his departure from Goya had something to do with his work with the Trump administration. But a lawsuit filed in New Jersey Superior Court weeks before Unanue's press release may hold clues as to why he left the company. CNN first reported that on February 5th, Bob Unanue's cousin and Goya executive and board member Francisco Unanue filed a lawsuit alleging that Bob engaged in a clandestine agreement that permitted the looting of Goya and colluded with a friend to perpetrate and/or cover up the resulting damage to Goya. In a statement to CNN, Goya Foods said its decision had, quote, absolutely no connection to politics, media appearances, nor has it impacted our vital work in protecting children and addressing food insecurity through our Goya Cares and Goya Gives initiatives, end quote. A representative for Bob Unanue told CNN that, quote, any allegations against Mr. Unanue are frivolous, absurd, and have absolutely no merit whatsoever, end quote.
The spokesperson also said the allegations were a smokescreen and defamatory and will be addressed accordingly. What's true to this day is that Goya is a brand that many US Latinos know very well.
It's the brand that their CEO, or I think their owners, came out in support of Trump, Donald Trump.
Fantástico, the best president of the United States, porque está haciendo lo mejor, de lo que no hicieron otros, lo hizo él.
Honestly, I was disappointed but not surprised.
Goya me gustan los frijoles negros es mi preferido.
As a Mexican, I feel like we use it less, but I see this as a very Central or South American brand.
What do you think has contributed to Goya's success? And what do you think could help it remain competitive with US Latinos? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Oh, and if you like this video, you might also like this other video I made.